Howdy folks, TJ here. Thought I would do a little bit of an Atari TT030 update in terms of the BlueSCSI version 2 that I recently installed because I made some changes and also we would then show you here on the Mac how the program Disk Jockey was used to make the hard drive images, not step for step, but it's going to show you in general what needs to be done. I thought it would be important to show that. And then we'll go over to my Atari TT030 because I'm starting to get that sucker dialed in a little bit. I've got some additional desktops installed. I've got all sorts of stuff going on. So I thought I would just take you on a little bit of a TT030 journey today. But I wanted to recap what I recently did because I made some changes. So if you watched my last video, I installed a BlueSCSI version 2 in my computer. During that time, I did somewhat step-by-step on what I did, and everything worked overall pretty well, but I did run into a hiccup. If you remember, if you watched that video, I was using HDDriver, and I couldn't get it to see the partition after I partitioned and to install the HDDriver. So with the camera off, I installed the old version 8.2 instead of the 12.5 that I was trying, and I was able to install it for whatever reason. And then I had 8 partitions to start slapping stuff on, and I ended the video with, hey, I've got this all working. Well, yes, it was a valid system. Everything was working, but I did see a post from somebody, I won't say his name, but he posted, what did you do? You didn't use this program, Disk Jockey, to make the hard drive, and now you're in RAW mode, and there were some other things. Some of them were valid, and it made me think, is there a better way to do this? What I had did, and I think he saw that I did it afterwards, because I said this is what I did. He didn't think I used this Disk Jockey program, and I'm going to actually show you how to use it. But I did, but I just did it. When you go onto the Googles and you Google something, everybody's got their ideas on what you should do. So you collect what you want and then you do what you want, ultimately. And what I ended up doing is one person, instead of making multiple smaller hard drive images, for example, 500, and make a whole bunch of them, one person took the size of the SD card, in case mine was 4 gigabyte, and came up with a number that I wanted to use 3,750 megabytes of that, which pretty much maxed out my card. Because I did a little calculation, and 3,750 is what I was able to do to make one hard drive image complete. And then within that image, I could then go put it on my Atari, use a hard drive utility program, which I did, and then use the partitioning to make all the different partitions. As you see, it worked. The only reason I couldn't get it to 100% work in HDDriver is because I'll show you later what I figured out what I was doing wrong, or not wrong. Maybe it's a bug or maybe it's not. I don't know, but I'll show you that later. But what I ended up doing is it worked. But this person said, hey, you're in RAW mode. So technically, yes, if you slap an SD card in there and don't have a proper HD image and BlueSCSI ini, I don't know if you need to have both, or if you don't have the hard drive image, it resorts to this RAW mode. And RAW mode on the BlueSCSI says, just use it as a, kind of one big area to stick stuff. That's the way I took it. But when you do that, you lose some functionality. One of the functions on the BlueSCSI is it comes with Wi-Fi. Did you know that? I'm not prepared to go down that path yet, but it has Wi-Fi built in, and that would be a neat feature. This Wi-Fi built in is called, in the olden days, Atari used a SCSI method called Dana port, and I believe it went through the SCSI port to allow network connectivity. I never used it. I don't know much about it. But supposedly this BlueSCSI has that option. So if you go into RAW mode, you, I think, lose that capability. So it made me think after he said that, well, maybe I do need to look at, maybe it is better to make a whole bunch of separate 500 megabyte hard drive images instead. And it was a good learning experience because I ended up figuring out what I did wrong or what went awry where I couldn't use HDDriver utility 12.5 to lastly install the HDDriver so everything would boot up fine. Anyway, Let me show you the Disk Utility or not Disk Utility, Drive Jockey, Disk Jockey. I'll focus it on the screen a little bit more. I want to quickly show you how you can make your hard drive images. It's very simple, and this is what I did to do it. So let me move the camera in. You're going to lose me here a little bit, but you'll see the screen a little better. And I'm going to turn off the ambient lighting behind me, and so the screen pops more. And then we're going to basically go over the TT afterwards. But let me switch my body in here. So right now, you probably see this well enough. Did I focus it on the screen? Okay, so this is the program, Disk Jockey. This is the first screen that comes up, and all you basically need to do, you'll see it says specify capacity. If you're using, I'm on a TT. The 512 megabyte is the largest partition it can handle. So what you're going to type in here is the number 488. Why 488? Because when you do this, the size of the final image is going to be about 511.7 or 0.8 megabyte in size, just a scotch under 512. So type in 488. Don't check mark anything here. Go down, make sure this use with BlueSCSI is highlighted, and that you switch this SCSI ID to 0. You'll see this disk image name has now changed. It says HD00 and then underscore 512, 488 megabyte .hda. Watch what happens when I change this to 1. This changed to HD 1. That's now SCSI 1. 2, that's now reading a 2. So you're going to be making, depending on how many you want to make, if you've got a 4 gigabyte card, you're going to probably want to make roughly between 5, 6, 7, and 8 500 megabyte partitions roughly. So what you do is you start out with 0. You're now ready to go. Just don't check anything else. Just go here and click on Create Image. It's going to come up. Where do I want to save? I'm going to save this one to the desktop. Select folder. It makes that wonderful sound, and it says this disk image is on your desktop, and here it is. If you go look at it, it is 511.754.240. Anyway, 511.8 megabyte on the disk. So just under the 512 threshold for my Atari TT. If you're running something that only does 256, then you're going to obviously change the number down. But on my TT, that's what it was. So there you go. So what you're going to do now, just like in a little conveyor belt, we need to make some more. I'm going to make a one that's got SCSI 1 instead. Create image. And there's the second one. So you start lining these up. You'll see the name is slightly different. HD double aught, HD 10, and so on. Once you've got all those made, you can quit this program. You're going to get a BlueSCSI.ini file, and I just used a very basic one. Did I leave one on this computer? I don't think I did. Did I? No, I didn't. So I'll put a text file in the description below that will show you. It's a very simple 3-liner. I thought I saved it on this computer. Did I not? MorphOS, installers, Quimsy. I guess I didn't. I must have been on my MacBook when I did it. So anyway, you put all these, and then you're going to slap them on your SD card. I recommend using a program called SD Formatter. Let me, since I'm not looking at the screen anymore, you can look at my beautiful face. Oh, I almost knocked this off the thing. Let's scrunch down, and let's turn on the lighting again, so you can see me, because I am yapping my jaws off. And, okay. And let's actually focus in kind of over somewhat near me. There we go. Okay, hopefully I'm coming in clear enough. So, SD Formatter, just Google it. That is the same program for my Speccy Next. They recommend formatting the SD card before you created it. So I used it to format the SD card. I then slapped the SD card in the computer. I copied all these over to that SD card. I copied my BlueSCSI.ini file over to it. It's a simple 3-liner. They even have on their website, BlueSCSI.com, I think it is. There's any creator where you can create your own online, but it's a simple 3-line text file. Slap that on your SD card, and then go put it in your BlueSCSI, properly install it in said computer, and then you're ready to rock and roll. So now we're going to turn off the camera, go over to my TT. I just like saying that word, TT, and we'll see how things boot up, and then I'll chat about things a little bit more, and then show you how my TT030 is progressing along. So hold tight. All right, we're over at my TT030, and we're going to boot it up together and look at various things I've been up to as late. I also have my Mega STE booted up behind me in regular TOS 2.06 because I want to do a little networking between it and this computer. I've got PowerNet installed. I can transfer files back and forth through Apple, well, local talk connectors, which if you've been watching my channel, you know I've been up to. Let's go ahead and boot the computer. I'm going to sneeze every day, every video like that. So we're booting up the TT030. So this has been a lot of fun. I've been digging. I'm in the power zone now. TT030, Mega STE, Falcon there. I'm just enjoying remembering some things of old, learning things of new, because I stopped Atarying back in mid-90s. So I'm having to relearn everything over again. Like Neodesk, I forgot how cool of a desktop world it gave me over the original Atari one. Let's go ahead and stop that. So right now I've got it perusing all the SCSI and ASCII devices, and we're going to stop this here. I've got Xboot to come up. Xboot is wonderful. I never used it back in the day. Let me focus in on the screen. Let me bring some things up so you can maybe see it a little bit better. Okay, that's probably good enough. All right, so Xboot, wonderful way to install all sorts of stuff on your Atari and be able to, because there's some conflict. Sometimes this doesn't like that, this doesn't like that, and you got to only start up certain things at a certain time. So Xboot allows you to turn on and off things at boot up a lot easier. You can even go in and adjust your file hierarchy, which one starts first, which one's second. It's really a cool program. Anyway, I've got all sorts of sets that I've created. One for MIDI Maze, one for MultiTOS, one for Neo and Geneva. That means Neodesk 4 and Geneva together. One for just Neodesk 4 alone, because Geneva is a multitasking operating system, or adds multitasking to your Atari. And that doesn't play nice with my PowerNet, which is also a multitasking thing. So you have to turn on and off some things. And I've got one just called networking. I forget what the heck that one was. PowerNet's my newest. I got spittle all over my glasses. Is my newest one that I use for my LAN ports. And I even have one called Sting, which I can remove because I took that off for now. I'm not ready to sting it yet. So anyway, Xboot 3, wonderful way to auto launch things. And let's go into, and hopefully everything still works. Let's go into Neodesk and Geneva first, because that's, let's go into just PowerNet, because I want to bring up HDDriver. I want to do it under a pretty basic operating system and show you where I went awry. And then we'll leave the BlueSCSI aside and then move on to just tinkering with the TT. So let's boot up. Simple as selecting it and then clicking on that little boot up menu. And if you're already in the right one, you just leave it be, and 10 seconds later, it boots up into it. So here's your regular Atari. So let's see if my networking via the LAN ports that are on TT030s, Falcons, and Mega STE is still working. This N icon down here is network. And if I click on that, there's my Mega STE. Here's all of its directories, and I can drag and drop as I please and copy stuff over. And it's pretty zippity quick, actually. It's not too bad. I copied, when I did this whole BlueSCSI thing, I put a lot of stuff over there to grab it afterwards. So after I've been rebuilding this, I just reconnected up my networking and started grabbing files left and right and rebuilding my TT the way I wanted it. So anyway, this is cool. Now I did go ahead and let's close all these. C hard. So now you'll see I've got C, D, E, F, G, H. Oh, I'm going to see this. And I. So I had made 8 partitions, 500 megabyte roughly in size. So it filled up my SD card. In hindsight, I probably should have dropped 2 of these off and left 2 off because the Dana port needs SCSI ID, and there may be something else I want to do a SCSI ID on. So I probably should have only made 5 and then left some room to play on. So I think, I'm saying the word think, that I'm going to have to take the SD card out because I don't know of any way to access the images independently through an Atari and delete them. So I'm going to go in there, take off 2 of them, bring up HDDriver because I think I'm going to want to do something for that Dana port eventually. And it needs to be assigned an ID that I'm obviously using and gobbling up right now. I think it needed 5 or 6 or something. I forget. Anyway, I have to read some more. But I've got, for now, 8 partitions. So I can double click and I've got all these empty ones I can start copying everything in the world Atari over to. But right now, what was I going to do? We're going to bring up utilities in utility. And I've got in here HDDriver. I'm going to go ahead and launch the HD utility. And you'll see things look a little different. There's stuff up here now. Before, when I did the whole partitioning in this window, I selected the SCSI. I went up to dry or medium, down the partition, and I made a whole partition thing. I can actually go in here. I just won't commit and do it. See this number 511.0? What was I typing in before? 511.7. Because I wanted to use I was greedy. I wanted to use every little schmegabyte. And that was the problem. When I typed in 511.7 and partitioned it, it said, okay, I did it. But then after I went through the motions and assigned it to either TOS or TOS/Windows, that 511.7, afterwards, after rebooting, didn't show up here, didn't show up at boot up time as a C partition. Is like, where am I? Where's the partition? So I said, 511.7. Well, that's because the computer over there, I typed 488. 488 meant that was 511 point something megabytes. So I thought I needed to type 511.7 in here. And for some reason, it doesn't like it. So when I, out of the blue, troubleshooting things, I kind of said, it's still not working. What's going on? I made a video, posted it on the Atari forum. People said, you're doing it right. But maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And it's great that everybody's throwing in their information, but I couldn't get any of it to work. So being a techie in the back, I actually worked at Apple for a while. I've always been in the tech world. I'm not the greatest tech, but I'm very persistent. Let's leave it at that. So I'm not a rocket science up here. I'm only semi. I'm a slow burn. Like you light a fuse, and I sit there and I mull shit over, and I go over it for 2 hours, and then I finally figure it out. Or I do something that makes it work, and then I start understanding. That's my level of knowledge. I'm persistent. So I went and said 511.7. That's weird, right? That's weird. Let's just type in 511. I don't need that 0.7. And when I did that, all of a sudden I formatted, partitioned, and I rebooted. The C partition appeared at boot up. And when I launched this program, it appeared up here. Because up here, you have to then select the drive and then go up to File and install HDDriver. You remember before it was grayed out? Well, it's no longer grayed out because I typed in 511, it liked it, and then we moved on. So that was where my problem was. Could I have lived with the old way? Yeah, it was working. But I went ahead and made all these different 500 megabyte partitions. You'll see I've got SCSIs. Every single one filled up. Wow. Probably not a smart idea. I probably should have left a couple out. Probably like 5 and 6. I should have just left out because I'm going to end up using them for something else. And I think now I'm going to need to dispose of those at some point. I'll figure that out later. But anyway, that's HD utility. Let's quit. Hopefully that came in clear enough. So let's do some rebooting. Let's go ahead and close all this. And we already saw that it is working in terms of LAN ports. So I can boot up in that PowerNet mode to do some transfers between this and my Mega STE. And I'll make sure to refocus here in a second. So now we're going to select... Oh, I must have clicked on it. I didn't want to do that. Damn it. I'm going to have to do it. It seems like it automatically did it. I must have hit like a return key or hit the mouse button or something. Let's see if we can do that again. It went really zippity quick. The X-boot window should take 10 seconds. I must have clicked. I didn't feel a click. Okay, don't touch. See, it's count. Okay, so good. All right, so let's go to Neo and Geneva. Let me make sure it's focused in. We're going to boot up into a cool multitasking of the day. I never tried Geneva. I did Neodesk. Neodesk, I think I ended at 2. But we're going to boot up into this. Geneva launches first. And then it's going to bring up Neodesk. And look at that cool display. I've got a little picture loaded up as a backdrop. It's this tree thing. I've got all my partitions here ready to use. And they look, you know, the icons in Neodesk just look wonderfully fun. They've got these Atari alert, you know, Atari icons, and everything looks just cool, right? Okay, so let's go up to options down to set video mode, because I want to go to TT medium instead, and we'll see how things change, because that's a low. Rethinks comes up. It's going to bring it up in a higher resolution. Neodesk 4. And look at that. Look at all these fun things. Double click on C. Here's all your fun icons. They got fun colors to them. I've got printer, clipboard. I've got the 2 floppies up here. C and D over here. E through I over here. I've even got this little notes thing. So one of the desktop pictures you can get from Neodesk, the old extras floppy, is this notes. And it lets you leave notes on the desktop. Now, you can click any place. But I put this little pad over here to remind me. See, it says TJ's Desktop Reminders. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm going to double click, and you can just start typing. Hi, how are you? And now that is a permanent thing. Well, not semi. It's semi-permanent. I can delete it, but it says, hi, how are you? So I can leave myself reminders saying, TJ, remember to do this next time you turn on the computer or whatever. To change it, you just double click on it, and you can delete the characters. And then hit return, and it's gone. So little notepad for me to leave myself notes, like little stickies. So this is Geneva and Neodesk. And if you launch multiple programs, I don't have tons on here, but let me see. I haven't actually launched Atari Works yet. I don't know if that's going to work properly in Geneva. Let's try it. I'm going to go ahead and launch Atari Works. Atari Works 1. We're going to create a new document. Let's resize it. Let's move that over here. And let's say I need to do something else. Let's open up C. And let's go find something. I think I've got some tools. Time. Let's launch the clock. Time clock. Now here's a clock. So maybe I want to make sure I don't go over my time for the day. So let me close. So I've got a Atari Works document open. And I've got the time. This time actually talks to it on the 5s or whatever you set it at. So this is multitasking right now. It's got multiple things going on. So Geneva lets you switch it, and you can just click on Works up here and go down and select. If I want to go back into Neodesk or the clock, you can basically do that. You can even make Neodesk its own window. So Geneva is, and I'm just learning it, but it's basically multitasking for your old Atari. So yeah, I'm done for the day. I'm going to go ahead and quit out of this, abandon. But I'm going to leave the clock up. So there is Neodesk with Geneva, multitasking. It's different than your kind of bland TOS, the aesthetics of it. So very cool. And I've got this little notepad over here. I'm hunky-dory happy. You can add pictures. I need to find some pictures, but I could put a picture on this backdrop if I wanted. Let's go ahead and reboot, and let's show you MultiTOS next. MultiTOS is Atari's own answer towards the end of their multitasking operating system, which now is basically Mint. When I get enough memory installed in this, I'm going to go ahead and select MultiTOS. I'm going to install Mint at some point. I'm going to install Magic, so I'm going to have various different Neodesk and Geneva, and then Magic. So I have different arenas I can boot up into for different things. So I really like MultiTOS's fun, colorful images. They got this little, little file cabinet kind of appeal to it with little colors on it. And it looks nice, and it is multitasking again. So just like Geneva, you can go in and see, and I'm going to launch, let's launch a couple things. I'm going to launch the clock. Oh, I'm going to sneeze.
The time is 7:45.
Thank you, talking clock. So we'll move the talking clock to, and then I need a calculator. Where's I think it's called ProCalc. Where are you, buddy? ProCalc. I need a calculator, and so we're going to launch that. And there's the calculator. So I've got these multiple programs running now under MultiTOS, and I can load up Atari Works or whatever else and do my thing. And I've got a calculator. 5 times 5 equals, oh, I did 566. Okay, 566 times 2 equals, there we go. So MultiTOS, very cool. So I like the aesthetics of MultiTOS, to tell you the truth. And just by closing that, you still, I need to quit it. If you want to quit it, you need to file quit. So let's go ahead and reboot. Is there anything else? I've showed you the LAN PowerNet choice. I've shown you MultiTOS. I've shown you let's just do Neodesk alone, and then we'll call this video a wrap. But you can see I'm getting things kind of dialed in here. So Neodesk 4, I have it. If I don't want to run Geneva and I just want to run Neodesk 4 because there's some other things I want to do that maybe are not happy with Geneva, I can do that as well. So let's just go ahead and boot up. Now, if I've got this properly set up, it should automatically start Neodesk 4 at boot up. And there is a way to do that in Xboot. So it's automatically doing it, loading a picture, and I'm booted. Cool, right? So now I'm in Neodesk 4. I did that through Xboot. I said, Xboot, only do these programs for Neodesk. Launch this at startup, which was the Neodesk executable. And I'm now booted up in the Neodesk. Don't have any of the Geneva stuff in here, but it's because maybe I want to connect to, let me see, I think I confirmed this the other day, ANSI Term, which is my BBS program or terminal program I use. So I think is okay. I tried it to connect with Neodesk, and I could go up here and I could dial to the Dark Force. Let's see if it's running today. Connect. It's answering, and I'm there, and we're going to go to 80 column mode. And I'm now connecting to the Dark Force. What a wonderful morning this has been. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Again, I've kind of recapped the what you need to do. You need to use that Disk Jockey, make some images. I think it's smart to go ahead and make, if you're running on a TT or one that can handle 512 megabyte partitions, make a quantity of 500s, because I think that I can go in there now and just remove one of them that I no longer want, that I didn't have anything on, and then I can then assign that SCSI ID to something else like the Dana port, which I'm going to explore down the road, because if it's got internal Wi-Fi built in, how cool is that? So anyway, thanks for watching. I'm continuing to enjoy my TT030, having fun every day. Thanks for watching. Bye.